I'm not even gonna try to do a funny little intro before the review. I'm just going straight into the review because this is actually a very hard movie to talk about. Yes, I'm reviewing Five Nights at Freddy's 2, the long-awaited sequel to the first Five Nights at Freddy's movie, which was not very well received, at least by critics. Audiences, for the most part, seem to have enjoyed it, but it seems like there's a similar pattern going on with the sequel, where critics are being extremely harsh on it, while audiences seem to be cool with it for the most part. If you want to know my thoughts on the first Five Nights at Freddy's movie, I'll have a link in the description of my original review. But just to summarize it, I overall enjoyed it. It's definitely not perfect by any means, but I did have a good time with it. I did find myself enjoying it for the most part. Not without its flaws, but at least for what it is, I found myself enjoying it more than not. And I was actually looking forward to this movie because it seemed like they took all the criticisms that people had from that first movie and they were actually trying to fix them for the sequel. One of the issues that I had with the first movie is that for a horror movie, it barely ever felt like one. I mean, it alluded to a couple of horror-ish things and it could be a little bit eerie from time to time, but for the most part, it's a horror movie that doesn't try very hard in trying to scare you. Here in the sequel, they took that criticism to heart because this film is filled with a shitload of jump scares and a bunch of cool kills, or at least fun kills to watch. So I appreciated that. The production value of the film also increased a lot in the sequel, and I mean, of course it would because the first movie made a shitload of money. The work that Jim Henson's Creature Shop went into the animatronics, I thought was awesome. The Wither animatronics look cool as fuck. I absolutely loved them in the movie. The toy animatronics were also really cool. I also liked them. I'm a little bit mixed on the voices. MatPat was quite literally unrecognizable. Like, I thought, wait, that's MatPat? Now, aside from those things, oh boy. Oh brother, where do I even begin with this one? Look, and I said this about the first movie. If you're a fan of Five Nights at Freddy's, if you're a big nerd of the FNAF lore, if you like that first movie, chances are that you're going to absolutely love this movie. But if you're just some regular old Joe who just wants to watch a fun horror movie, I don't know if this is going to be for you. And I've seen different points of view on this whole thing that just make it even harder to talk about this movie, because I'm trying to be as fair as possible, coming in here as an ex-FNAF fan. I think this is a movie that fans will enjoy. It's a movie made by fans for the fans. But then there's also the reviewer side of me that acknowledges that there's a lot of things wrong with this movie that I just can't ignore. Look, to quote my original review, if you are not a fan of Five Nights at Freddy's, this movie does not give a fuck about you. If you are lost to watching this shit, womp womp. And look, let me get into some of my complaints because there's a couple here. I think the movie has a very rough first act. I think it does improve in the second and third act, but the first act of the movie is filled with corny ass dialogue, with the most weird acting I've seen in a movie in a long time, where people are acting in the most unnatural way possible. This is not how normal people talk or behave. One of my original complaints from the first movie was that there was a clear lack of Matthew Lillard, and believe it or not, but they found a way to have even less Matthew Lillard in the sequel. I cannot believe how much they use this man in all the promotional material and all the trailers and all the red carpet shit and all the interviews and stuff, and he's barely in these movies. He's the main villain of this series, and the fact that he barely has any real presence whatsoever is just astonishing. It's almost comical just how much he has such little impact in these movies, and somehow they love using him as like the main hook for these movies. This movie is also very funny, but I don't think the movie's really aware of that. To put it into perspective, this movie is like, or at least 30% of this movie is genuinely funny because it intends to be funny. The other percent of this movie is funny, but not because it was trying to be funny. This movie is filled with so many moments, so many scenes that are supposed to be taken seriously or are supposed to be scary, quote unquote, but you end up just laughing your ass off because of just how fucking ridiculous it is. So I'm a bit stuck here because while I do like the movie, I also acknowledge that it is everything but perfect. This movie has so many flaws, or at least it has plenty of flaws that are just unavoidable. There's some that I haven't even mentioned, but I'm not gonna talk about them because they get a little bit too much into spoiler territory. But let me just say this, there's something that they do in the credits of the movie that I was like, oh, you gotta be fucking kidding me. Like, this is not cute. If you wanted to do this, I get what you were trying to do, but you should have just put this in the movie, not put it in the fucking credits. I will say that the PG-13 rating is starting to get on my goddamn nerves. Before, I didn't really care too much about it, but now in the sequel, it's just starting to make me feel like these movies just need to take the leap of faith and make these movies fully R-rated. I know that some FNAF fans are gonna disagree with me. Look, I get why they won't do it, because these movies are still trying to be appealing to kids, which is weird to me. Okay, whatever. Fuck. I'm trying to remember what rating I even gave the first movie, but to me, in retrospective, really thinking about it, the first movie is like a 6.5 out of 10. The sequel, because it is an improvement overall from the first movie, Five Nights at Freddy's 2 would be like a 7 out of 10. Look, again, maybe I'm being a little bit nicer than most people. Yes, I do enjoy this movie a lot more, but that doesn't mean that's perfect. I think it's very obvious that this is by no means a flawless movie. And I don't know about you guys, but I would be lying if I said that the ending of this movie doesn't do a pretty good setup for the third movie. But again, if you're a FNAF fan, you are going to absolutely love this movie. For everyone else that is not a FNAF fan, and especially if you didn't like that first movie, shit, you're out of luck. But thank you so much for watching. What do you think of Five Nights at Freddy's 2? Did you love the movie? Did you hate it? Or are you just kind of in the middle? Let me know down in the comments. I really want to know what you guys think about it. And like always, good night and stay safe.